welcome into a special edition of the solo pod by Cam for the Phroad Street Phandom Podcast. Brock's out celebrating his birthday. Brian's busy with work, so I figured I'd jump in real quick, just kind of catch you guys up on some of the Phillies' recent games, the NFL transactions, training camps in full swing. Preseason week 1 is already complete. Week 2 coming up this weekend. And then go through the Sixers schedule release highlights and also just kind of go over our fantasy baseball and football updates. So starting out, since we last spoke, the MLB trade deadline happened. Luis Arias comes over to the Phillies. We got rid of our number 4 prospect. His name was Ramon Marquez, as well as Marty Gare. We get a reliever that's already, hurt with Caleb Killian. And then we also get a Met coming in, Brooks Raley, and I'll kind of go over some of their stats as they've kind of, joined the Phillies and how they've been performing. But the move of Arias, obviously, he's won the batting title 3 times in his career. He's going to be a consistent average hitter. He's not necessarily any power, but, he's going to cause a big shift in the infield. So since they've acquired him, he's been the everyday second baseman. Stott has now moved over to third. Boom goes over to first. Turner stays at short. And the big question is, where does Bryce fit in? They decided to put him and his bad knees out in right field. Not the greatest decision, in my opinion. I think they should be moving Trey Turner into the outfield, putting Stott at short. Boom stays at third, but that's just my opinion. I think Brian kind of agreed with me on a little bit of that, but we'll see. Brock obviously doesn't want Boom to be on the team anymore, so we'll see. Since we last recorded, the Phillies are 12-9. They were swept by Miami, down in Miami. They took 2 out of 3 in Baltimore, 3 out of 4 against the Nats. Then they lost the series against Toronto, winning 1 of 3, won 1 of 3 against St. Louis. Then one of the cool things in baseball this year, they had the Field of Dreams game over in Iowa. So that was really cool to see. The Phillies uniforms looked absolutely outstanding. Love the 1939 look that they brought out there, and it brought the bats back together. Schwarber hit 2 home runs in that game, so that was cool to see. He'd been struggling lately, so they ended up winning that game, and then they took the next 2 from the Twins in Minnesota, so there's a sweep there. And then they've carried that along back into Philly, and they've won the first 2 in their series against Miami. So what the Phillies have done now apparently is that Mattingly had a meeting with the team, and he said, why don't we actually have a game plan when we go up there to bat? It's actually been pretty successful. So now that the Phillies have a plan of attack on the offensive side, they've actually learned how to hit. They've scored some runs. Boom and Stott especially have been very productive in the past couple weeks. Arias, since joining the Phillies going into today's game, 241 average, 262 on base percentage, 6 runs, 9 RBIs, 1 home run. So not great offensive numbers. He had 3 hits tonight, I believe. So that's going to bump those numbers up tremendously, but it hasn't been kind of the consistent bat they were looking for. They've been batting them a lot in the cleanup spot, if not every game, kind of putting them behind Harper, but we'll see how it turns out in the end of the season. Really, our buddy from the Mets that they brought in, he's had 6 appearances, 5 2/3. He's given up 3 earned runs, 7 Ks, and 1 walk. He actually came in tonight and got the save. 2 outstanding plays by Stott, and then a strikeout. So good, clean save for him. Gives Orion some rest. The bullpen's been absolutely having to eat up a ton of innings with Sanchez and Wheeler's kind of coming back down to normal. They've only been going 5 or 6 innings in a lot of their recent starts, so the bullpen's had a lot of usage on top of Painter, Nola, and Luzardo, not necessarily going as far as they should be going in some of these games. A lot of the Nola I kind of agree with, just because you never know when he's going to, when the dam's going to break for him. He's going to start giving up home runs left and right. But he's actually been very good the past probably about a month now. A couple quality starts thrown in there, so that's always good to see. We'll see if he can continue that. Obviously, we have a month and probably 2 weeks left of the season, or week and a half and a month left in the season, so we'll see what they got. The rest of the season's not going to be very easy. For August, we have the last game of Miami series. Then we have a series with St. Louis, Seattle, and the Angels, and we start a series with Arizona. September is going to be very difficult for the Phillies, so we'll really see how they kind of compete, if they can make it into the playoffs. Currently hanging on to a wild card spot, but we have series with the Arizona Diamondbacks, 2 series against the Braves, Houston, Washington, Mets, Milwaukee, and Tampa. Arizona and St. Louis, they're both making pushes for the wild card. Atlanta, Houston, Tampa, and Milwaukee are all leading their division. So if they do make it into the playoffs, they're going to have some experience going against some heavy hitters to be able to, round out September. So yeah, we'll see how the Phillies shake up. The bats really need to come alive. The starting pitching needs to kind of lock back in. Like I said, it has been good to see Nola kind of make some quality starts, but as long as he can stop giving up the meatballs and home runs, I think he's got a shot. And he'll probably be locked in as like the fourth starter if they do make it into the postseason. But let's not count our chickens before they hatch there. Going into the Eagles camp, big injury so far. Grenard, he's been out with a pec injury. There's no timetable for his return, so we'll see when he actually gets it back. Jalen Carter got paid, well deserved for him. 4 years, $152 million extension. The first game that they had against Baltimore, not great. Offense didn't look very good, but not many starters played offensively. If any, maybe just some O-line guys. But it's preseason. Who cares? This week, they actually have joint practice that they're starting up in New England. So we get to see our old buddy A.J. Brown again. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure WIP is going to be having some wet dreams about that matchup. Him going against our young corners. Him seeing Jalen for the first time since he's been on the New England Patriots. Apparently, there was a lip sync video that I saw that AJ was talking about him to Drake May. Probably not, but that's what the post was showing. But we'll see. So that'll be some drama that I know a lot of the Philly fans are going to love. But that game, you may see the starters play probably the first quarter. I think that's going to be kind of more of the dress rehearsal than they would week 3. A lot of these joint practices and scrimmage, that's where they're actually playing the starters against the other team starters. So they're kind of doing it outside of the preseason games just to make sure that everyone kind of stays healthy. Across the NFL, there's been a lot of signings recently. So the NFL running backs, Saquon got paid, 3 years ago by the Eagles, and it turned out to be a big thing for the running backs. Bijan, 3 years, $75 million extension. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 years, $67.5 million extension. Jonathan Taylor, 2 years, $44 million extension. So you see that the running back market, as probably about 10 years ago, they started to not pay running backs just because the injury concerns. They didn't want to give them the length of the money. The running backs had a meeting. They're actually starting to get paid now. So shout out Saquon for getting the running backs paid. Some other notable signings: Stephon Diggs signs down in Washington. Von Miller just signed over in Dallas. Some wild extension that I saw was Zay Flowers in Baltimore, 4 years, $140 million. Wouldn't even put him in the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL, but hey, shout out to that guy for getting paid. What else do we have? The NBA schedule release. That released probably about a week ago. Some of the highlights: the Sixers and Knicks open up the season in New York. So we get to see a little Bron action going up to New York as they're, unveiling the banner for the Knicks. We'll see what the Knicks look like this year. Obviously, the Sixers got all the hype, but the Knicks pretty much dominated everyone last year in the playoffs. So easy road for them to win the championship. They made it look super simple, and we'll see what they can do next year. The Sixers have the Cavaliers as their home opener. So it seems like the NBA is trying to make a point of LeBron having these primetime games against his former clubs, teams that were interested in him that he decided to sign with Philly against. So we'll see how that goes. And then speaking of that, Lakers, Christmas Day. NFL is pretty much taking Christmas Day games over, but the NBA is going to try and give their marquee matchups. So Sixers versus the Lakers in LA on Christmas Day. We'll see how that goes. I'm super stoked about LeBron signing, as we've mentioned before. We'll see if it really makes them a contender. I think the most thing that they have to worry about is just kind of keeping everyone healthy and how the chemistry looks. So obviously Jalen Brown coming in, how's that going to work? Tyrese Maxey, you're still expecting him to step it up and kind of take over as that leader on the floor. Embiid, don't even play him till April, in my opinion. Just got to keep him healthy to where he's ready to go if they can make it into the playoffs. So yeah, we'll see. I think the Sixers did get the most amount of primetime games in the NBA schedule this year. Obviously, Philadelphia being one of the bigger markets, obviously, Jalen and LeBron signing there, or Jalen getting traded to Philly, and then LeBron signing there, bringing a lot of attention into the national media. So we'll be seeing a lot of them. We'll be paying a little bit more attention to them this year, me especially because my guy LeBron's on the team now. But we'll see how it actually works out. And lastly, just to jump into some fantasy updates. So for the baseball league, I'm currently sitting in fourth. Brock is sitting in 10th. Brian's holding on to a playoff spot in sixth. There's the rest of this week and 2 more weeks before the playoffs start. So we'll see how that actually turns up if Brian can hang on and make it into the playoffs. My team's just being decimated by injuries right now, but we'll see how that goes. Fantasy football league. So the listeners that are out there in our fantasy football league, that's going to be kicking off here. We're going to be looking to draft live on the pod on Tuesday, September 1st. So everyone that's in the league, if you're listening right now, make sure you have that blocked off to where you can join our draft. And we'll be continuing to actually record on Tuesday nights going forward. So we'll be back to our weekly cadence. Once football season starts up, that's where we're going to have a lot of things coming in, where we're going to start doing some pick'ems, all of the bets that we did last year, and then obviously fantasy advice, updates, moves, things like that we talked through. So yeah, just wanted to kind of jump in real quick, give you guys a quick recap on what we've missed in the past couple of weeks as we've been busy with life, and hopefully we'll get back to our normal recording cadence here soon. So shout out to you guys for